Okay, we should be recording right now. Hmm, I don't see anything up here, but it could be because I'm also sharing my screen. Let's go to this one. Chris, do you want to explain the product goal, the past sprint goals,
Yeah,
and the upcoming sprint goals?
so very briefly, the product goal that Barry and I are working on at the moment is that we want to create a foundation of all the features that we need to satisfy the subscription tiers. So the previous product goal that we've been working on for, I think, 7 or 8 sprints was to figure out what's actually a way to generate some revenue from this Scrum Team survey so that we can actually fund further development. And the subscription model was the most viable one. So what we're doing now is we're going to use the coming sprints to develop the features or foundation of the features we need for that model. We already have quite a lot of it, but especially the Liberator Plus tier, we still need to do quite a lot of work. So some of the sprint goals that we've worked on the past couple of sprints is that, well, actually it already says that here, start experiment with a basic monthly subscription model. We actually enabled this last week. So if you want, the Scrum Team Survey is a free tool. It will always remain free, or at least the core features. But you can also subscribe to unlock some advanced features, which we will be focusing on in this sprint review. We already have 10, I think 10 customers, so that's pretty cool. We need a
Right.
lot more, but we already have 10, so that's nice. And what we've done also is to add 2 or 3 value added features that are actually unlockable for those subscriptions, which we'll talk about in a moment, and we'll get to play with that a little bit. Another goal was to decrease the abandonment rate, which is the rate at which people start the survey and stop the survey. They don't complete it. We wanted to get that down from 36%, but it actually went up after the sprint. So we've done a lot of improvements, but actually it went up. So either the improvements are wrong, or I think that's my hypothesis, that the number of people that's actually going to the survey increased by a lot. And I can actually see that in the data. So we have to analyze this a bit more carefully to know whether or not we failed. But in any case, the rate has gone up. That's a fact. So that's why there's a red cross. And Barry, for the future, what are some of the sprint goals that we're going to work on?
Yeah, so the advantage of releasing early is that you also get early feedback. And although it has only been maybe 1.5 weeks ago that we released a subscription model, we already got a lot of good feedback. So we are going to make some changes in the upcoming period. A landing page is something that we definitely need. So we also actually migrated from zombiescrum.org, or what is it? Scrum
Survey.zombiescrum.org.
survey.zombiescrum.org towards Scrum Team survey.org. But we think that we could definitely benefit from having a landing page that not only shows the survey, but then we can also include more relevant content like blog posts, the subscription itself, etc. It just gives a bit more opportunities. And something that was actually an idea, I think David is in the call, an idea raised by David to, in the team threads that we are going to show in a moment, to also give actionable feedback based on the changes in the scores. This is going to make more sense once we are going to show it, and that's going to happen in a couple of minutes. So these are just some ideas for future sprint goals that we have. In short, it's also about expanding the more advanced features for all the subscription tiers that we have. Okay, so
And we didn't have a sprint goal this sprint, did we, Barry?
yeah, well, it emerged. So a sprint goal can also emerge during the sprint. So shall we go to this one,
Yeah,
Chris?
let's do it. So, for the people that were here last time, you sort of know what to expect, I think. But what we always like to do with sprint reviews, whether it's our own product or other Scrum teams that we work with, is to actually let stakeholders, meaning you, take the wheels and just try out some of the things we've created. And the way we did it last time worked really well. So we're going to do that again. And for that to work, we need one volunteer who is willing to try out the new features. We'll give you some instructions on what's involved in that. It's not difficult at all. But you have to be okay to share your screen, because everyone else is just going to look with you. And it's perfectly okay if things are not clear to you or if you don't know where to click. That's simply a sign that Barry and I need to do work on the user experience, right? So you cannot make any mistakes. Any mistake you make has to do with our product and the user experience of that. So who would like to volunteer for this? Is there anyone who would like to give it a try?
If so, just do a shout out or raise your hands. Tana. Tana. Oh, no, it was Tana. Yes. If you could.
I'd be happy to.
Oh,
Cool.
Excellent. Awesome.
So
Well, I have, Chris, I have enabled the sharing setting, so you can take it from here.
So Tana, if you can share your screen with us, I've also shared a link with you in the chat, or with everyone in the chat window. Maybe you can open that link and share your screen with us so we can see what you're seeing.
Right.
And everyone else, in the meantime, feel free to go to the same link in the chat window to try around a little bit.
Is it, if I share screen, is it going to be only the screen that I'm seeing, or will it let me toggle between tabs?
Yeah, you can select what you want to share. Yeah. We're not seeing it yet, I think. Oh, now we're seeing
Yep,
it.
there we are.
Perfect.
Hooray.
Perfect. And if you want, you can always make it a full screen page so that people don't see your tabs or other things with it. Great. So I think in the meantime, everyone has maybe also opened it. So I'll give you a couple of instructions, Dana. It's really straightforward, but this is the profile for one of the teams that they receive after they complete a survey. Now, I think you just mentioned that you haven't tried the survey itself before. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So this
I was
is
doing it in the background, but I wanted to focus on the
Cool.
conversation.
So this is the first time that you're seeing this, which is great. So maybe can you scroll through the profile a little bit and just think out loud what you're seeing? What does it mean to you? What confuses you? What are you seeing? Just verbalize your thinking while you're looking over this.
So let's see. I like, this is OCD, but I like the white space. It's not too packed with stuff. The controls are nice and visible, colorful. I don't have any badges. I want some badges.
That's great.
From at least my perspective, all of the things that are important and as what is that there? As far as what should be included are there.
Feel free to click on things if you want. I'll give you a few moments and then we'll move to the next step.
I like that I have a place to give feedback, ask questions. I want to give it a try.
Cool. So this is the profile that a team receives when they've completed the survey. And well, you haven't seen that yet, and maybe others haven't seen that either. But what's possible is you can invite stakeholders and you can also invite other members from your team. Now, if you look at the profile, maybe what you're seeing right now, can you tell which of the results are from your team and which are from your stakeholders? And where would you
Yes, they're nicely color coded. So my own ratings there in blue, the team scores in pink, and stakeholders or other users are in orange. I actually like that too, that I historically have only asked the team, so I like the option to include stakeholders and users. So
Right, to get the bigger picture also, right? That's
yes,
the plan with the survey.
and the bigger share.
Right, yeah. So let's move to the next step, because what we've been working on, this profile that you're seeing right now, that's been in the survey for quite a while now. But what we've worked on in particular is some of the features that are part of the subscription model. And one of those is that there's now a team dashboard where you can manage multiple teams. So many Scrum Masters have more than one team.
Yes.
So we wanted to make that easier. Now, where would you, can you try to find the team dashboard, and can you try to go to it?
I need to, how do I make that? There we go. I'm thinking it's probably this team dashboard button.
Sure, go ahead. You can click on it. And it asks you for a login right now. Now, what normally happens when you have subscription, you receive a login code from us that you can use. I'll put that in the chat window for you. It's Sprint Review Demo without spaces and all uppercase. You can also copy paste it in there.
Oops, typo.
Well, you can also
I
copy
might-
paste it maybe from the chat. That might be the easiest way to get it right.
But this is excellent. Now we've also validated what happens if you don't enter the correct code.
Now, actually, I think there's something else because I have the same issue. Let me check. It worked before the sprint review, so that's always nice, right? When you do the sprint review, the code all of a sudden changed.
It's like a real sprint review.
Yeah.
This
Let me
is
check.
very realistic.
It is. Let me check for a moment. I have to log into the server. Maybe Barry, you can in the meantime explore some of the other bits.
Do a dance.
Or do a dance.
Artanto says, I just tried and it says expired.
Weird. Oh wait, you're right. Oh man, that's stupid. That's also why it didn't work, because the expiration date is like, it's like 2 o'clock for today. That's stupid. Well, that shows you that this is real software. We're not doing a presentation. So if you do it again, Tena, it will work now.
All right.
And apologies for the mistake on my part. I misconfigured it.
Yay.
Yay, we got in. So while it's loading, I'll explain. Well, my question to you is, can you click around through the dashboard a little bit? And again, think out loud. What are you seeing? What do you think it means?
So I see I assume these would be my teams and the results, so I can look back at historical surveys. I see I can look into the trends. Oh, this is slick. Like, I have a lot of, or historically, a lot of interest in charts.
I really like how you're playing around with this. This is perfect. You're doing great.
I think I would have thought that I would get down to one line when
Yeah,
I picked.
that's not happening, right? So that's definitely a user experience thing that we can improve. How else would you do this? This is great. This this never crossed our mind when we when we created this.
I wrote it down as feedback.
Yeah, or you're writing it down. I'll help you a little bit, Dana. You can, if you unselect some of the themes, you can click Show Trends again, and then it will reload it with the data. But it should be easier, absolutely. Yeah, so if you click on that one, it should reload it. It can take a while.
There we go.
Perfect.
Where do I have the option to set the time period? Supposing I have been using this for many sprints, could I define the date range?
Not at the moment, but that's a great idea and definitely something we want to include. So right now, the only thing you can do is see from, you basically see all the previous snapshots, as we call them. But it should be possible to filter it on date in the near future.
Awesome.
Perfect. So maybe that's the final question. Now, suppose you're working with this Scrum team and you've done 3 measurement moments, so 3 snapshots in the terminology that we use for this. How would you create a new snapshot for this team? So how would you do a 4th one? How would you start that? Where do you think you would go? Oh, that's quick.
I'm thinking right here.
Yeah,
new survey.
Yeah.
I've got one more question, Chris. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Can you go back to team trends where you were a moment ago, and then just show trends? If you just click show trends, and maybe it's more clear if you only show one trend. Doesn't really matter which one. Yeah, excellent.
I seem to have to click twice there.
What do you think? Because you see the line, and above and beneath the line, you see a grayish area. What do you think that means?
I assume that's the drift in the scores, for lack of a better term, the lows and the highs. And this is going to be the line is going to be the average.
Yeah. Wow, excellent. Yeah, that's spot on. Thanks.
Yay.
Yeah, perfect. Well, this was far less disastrous for us than the previous sprint review because the profile was quite confusing then. So this is great. I think this is it, Barry, right? That we wanted to review right now.
Yeah.
There are a couple of questions in the chat that I also would like to address. And if you want, then you can keep playing around or you can just unshare your screen. It's up to you. But Artanto asks, why isn't it possible to skip the survey and share the survey directly to the team? And I think that's useful to clarify because that's a quite conscious design decision that we took. So if you want to participate with a Scrum team, you have to do it yourself first, and then you invite your Scrum team members. The reason for this is that we want the Scrum teams to always take the initiative in taking this assessment. We do not want external coaches, management, or other people outside the team to send an email to the team like, this is the survey, go fill it in, because then they're not the owners of the improvement process. So if you're in a situation, and we've actually had this question quite a few times already, so we have to explain this a bit more clearly in the site. If you're an external coach, or if you're in a management position, or if you're very new to a Scrum team, what you can also do is address this idea to do the survey in a sprint retrospective, and then ask who of the team would like to take initiative to start it, because then it's owned by them and they're not told to do it. So that's why that's not possible right now. But we may at some point make that easier. We don't know yet, but well, that's just a clarification of why it works that way.
So ideally the one who start filling the survey is the one who really understands about the team, right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be the recommendation that we always give right now. Yeah. And that's different from other tools that are available online where you can just create a survey and send it to a team, but we don't want to do that really. So that's why. Yeah.
I noticed the participants are not exactly hidden, but I guess you can't see how they responded. So you still have that feeling of safety that.
Yeah, that's a good question. Right now, what we do is we only show team scores when at least 3 people from the team have participated. Because if it would be 1 or 2, you could technically reverse it. Well, with 1, it's very straightforward. But with 2 people, you could sort of guess what the other person probably answered if you have a 6, for example. So we start showing scores from 3 or more members. It's all to protect anonymity of the people in the team and that they feel safe to participate.
And participate honestly. I really appreciate that. I just was poking around and noticed where everybody's email is there, but there's no way I could link their specific feedback, or at least not that I've found so far. So that's good.
There is no intentional way to do that unless someone can hack the system and get in somehow, but there's no intentional way you can see individual profiles of other people.
That's good. I noticed also that there's the link to have others participate. There's a separate link for stakeholder and team member, and I'm curious to know whether the questions are different.
So also a great question. It's the last one, and then we'll move into the 1-2 for all, Barry, just so you know.
Yeah, I want to suggest a change in a moment, but that gives you the opportunity to just take your time to answer this question.
Yeah, so the stakeholder survey is indeed a different survey. They overlap, obviously, but what we ask stakeholders is to give their perspective on things that they can actually say something about. So for example, we ask teams questions about quality. Like, is quality a topic in your team? Do you have a clear understanding of what high quality is, what low quality is? And we ask the stakeholders, is what you're getting out of the Scrum team actually of high quality? Because they may not know if teams are talking about quality or not. So we ask the questions from a slightly different perspective while still trying to make sure that we measure at least a similar thing.
I would add that on the never change.
Okay, because it's important for you that we have such a feature.
Yes, I mean it's like I said, the fact that it allows you to engage users or stakeholders, I think is outstanding. But you know, asking them team questions when they're technically not members of the team is kind of goofy. And so like I said, I think I strongly support a different set of questions for the stakeholder perspective. So
that's great.
Thanks.
For that. Well, and thank you for helping us do this part of the sprint review. It was a lot of fun to do this with you, Dana.
Yeah, and I think we've got about 30 minutes remaining. My feeling is that we already naturally moved into discussing this, what you're looking at right now, these questions. My suggestion also to you, Christian, would be to combine, to already move into this part, because now everyone has the team portal fresh in mind, the stuff that you were looking at. So in a moment, I'm gonna open breakout rooms, and then you'll find 2 or 3 other people. Have a conversation about the team portal, the team dashboard that you've just been looking at, and that was just demonstrated by you, and discuss with each other. Now that you've learned more about the team portal, what else should we include? What's missing? What is something that you would have expected to be there? And what are features we need to include to convince your organization to get a subscription? So what are advanced features you really would like to expect there, because that would make your organization highly enthusiastic. Do you have anything to add, Chris? In the meantime, I'm gonna set up the breakout rooms. I'm gonna do.
And the breakout rooms are just a way to get your thinking together, to sort of see which ideas most of you have.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 8 minutes. Let me see, Chris, because do you want to be in a breakout room, Chris?
Yes, let's do that. I'll just ask questions, but I can participate.
Okay, I'm gonna open the breakout rooms right now. 8 minutes. See you back in 8. Hello, welcome.
Hi.
So let me share my screen again. Were you room 1 or 2 or 3?
Room 3.
Ah, okay. So you already included the ideas in the slides. Hello, the other people also joined. Are we complete again? I guess so. So let's take some. You just had a conversation about what's still missing or things you would like to see included in the team portal. I already noticed that 2 rooms included their ideas. So let's take some time to read what the other people wrote down. And if you still need to include something, well, then this is a good moment for that. So let's take a minute to read the results and read the feedback. Wow, even illustrations up here.
First rate.
So I do have some questions, but maybe shall we just do it per room? So maybe room 2 wants to start. I think they have completed their feedback, and just take 1 or 2 minutes to explain the ideas that you have. Maybe one of you would like to share it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were with Christian and Jeroen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Christian wrote all the ideas, but there was one thing that we had like not a discussion, but more like, okay, that's a good idea. Is that the view of all the team members are kind of the same as for me as a Scrum Master. So Christian said, well, that's a good one because we didn't explain it better. We need to better explain it in the survey.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and let's see. Jeroen says less text in the profile. See the numbers more quickly. Numbers interesting to me. Oh, Jeroen, maybe you can explain it better than me. What you meant?
Yes, what I was expecting was more like a dashboard feel to it, and immediately see into the numbers and have an overview of what has actually changed from last time, from last snapshot, to have a quick overview of what's actually going on here. So that was my feedback.
Okay. And allow management to add 1 or 2 questions. Curious to learn more about that one.
That is more from my perspective. The manager that we have at our organization, she put some goals that all the teams needs to fit.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe for me it was easy to put these goals into the survey by myself.
Okay.
So maybe 2 questions or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. That's clear for me.
Or kind of like the ability to add your own
Custom questions.
Yeah.
My
exactly.
hunch is, but Christian knows that better than me, that's kind of difficult, especially because it's connected to a scientific model that's behind it. And my first feeling would be that it might influence the model and then also influence the feedback and the results. But maybe Christian, you have a different take on that?
I think it could work, but we have to make it very clear that those are custom questions and that they're not part of the official set, because the official set is validated statistically and scientifically. So we want to make that separation clear. But I think this is technically possible for sure.
That will be fine. Yeah.
So let's, thanks, Tamara. Let's go to room number 3. Is there someone from that room that can briefly share their thoughts?
Anybody else want to step up or not? I will. Okay, so a lot of the focus of the conversation was on invitations and that process and kind of making sure that you get response to the survey. So there were some thoughts around like the progress bars, the number of people, being able to show like I sent out 5 surveys, only 3 people have, responded back. Sending reminders, things like that. There was another thought around in our charting and the team trends, being able to mark places where significant team changes happened, so that you could, when you're analyzing that, especially further down the road, that would not, or that you would be reminded of those changes that may have impacted the team, and then also making a Kanban version, that's kind of more focused around that. That process as well.
Cool.
But a lot of the conversation was around invitation acceptance and kind of getting responses to the survey, especially across large organizations.
And because that was a topic in your group, does that mean that is also an issue that you're facing, that it's difficult to get people in your team to participate?
It was split. Sometimes it sounded like there was some maybe difficulty in getting that, especially in a larger group. And then in my case, and I think a lot has changed since then, but in my case, it was just visibility into seeing if the responses had happened. I had the number, on the number of responses, but that was it. But there's also been a lot of changes since we did that survey. So.
Right. And there's one thing I wanted to check what you mean by, or what your group meant by this, is the different view of chart. What different view were you talking about?
Anybody else want to elaborate on that? I don't remember that part of the conversation. I think that might have been related to the change markers, but if I'm wrong, please speak up.
Yeah, I think it's related with the change marker, so maybe I just understand.
Okay. It might just be duplicated.
Remove that one. Yeah, perfect. Thanks. Great ideas.
And let's go to room number 1. Is there someone from room number 1 who would like to elaborate on these 3 ideas?
Sure. I'll throw it out there. One thing that we saw from the portal itself was the fact that if we had multiple teams there and we wanted people to kind of interact with it in a certain way, we want to make sure that they don't see the other teams. So that was something that was brought up. Also, something that I threw out was it would be nice to see the badges. So if we are like a team and we're trying to do badging and trying to get better and having fun at it, it might be nice to see them at the portal level. The other thing was the information about the big 5. I'll paste really quick that image. Imagine multiple teams being here, and then these would be the trends that you could quickly see. So if you're like an agile coach looking across multiple teams, you would then see the big 5 here, and then we could click and drill into these things.
This is the design we're looking for. I'm just going to implement it like this.
I'll give you the icons for free.
No, this is such a great idea. I like that a lot.
I was so curious. I was expecting to see an elephant and like the big five. This makes more sense. So that's great.
Thank you very much. And yeah, and then imagine, of course, on there, so like the badges on the top or something where you're like, you've unlocked them and you can celebrate as a team and all that type of stuff. There was one thing that I've neglected to put in these notes. Tana had mentioned some exporting features for some of the reporting. If you wish to speak to that, Tana, I don't think I would do it justice.
Well, we just got to talking about the ability to do, some sort of reports. Of course you can, snag a screenshot on the results because you are presenting, the reports there, but it would be nice, maybe less priority, but it would be nice to be able to, export either in a report form or just in the data so that you could, do your own reports on it. Also in the sharing, we wanted to make sure if you set up a report, then you would be able to limit it to, be able to tailor the content and visibility of the recipients. Again, taking the multi-team, in mind, making sure that, okay, who I send this to can only see these elements and these teams.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Fits very much with our principle also to protect anonymity. So also of individual teams. It's a great idea. Yeah.
Cool. So, Chris, we've got about 9 minutes left. Yeah. Do you want to show something about Scythe, some data?
Yeah, let's show data.
Then I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
This is sort of because we measure like everything we can. Do we have a question?
5 minutes for that, Chris. Then.
Okay. Do we have a question about this, or are we just like sharing some of the results here?
Yeah, I think it's quite a lot to digest.
Yeah, you don't have to look at all the numbers, but basically, also sort of Barry and I always like to model this sprint review as how we think sprint review should go, right? So it's you're working closely with your stakeholders, you're giving them the wheel, try it out, and data is also really important, of course, in making decisions. So what we can see here, I think you can see my cursor.
Yeah, we can.
So right now we have 10 active customers. That's awesome. It hasn't climbed this week, so we need to do some effort there. Also, all the way to the left are the teams that are participating. So you can actually see per day how many teams are participating. And a very interesting pattern that we're already seeing is that Thursdays are the most active days because that's probably before the end of the sprint. So everyone's still doing the Scrum Team survey by then. Also, a lot of stakeholders participating. And what's also nice is that we see more and more teams returning for new snapshots. So they're taking a new snapshot with their team to actually start plotting trends. And as you can see, the purple pink line there, the abandonment rate has actually gone up again this week. So we actually have to start doing some work on that. I think you said something, Tana.
I was one of those, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Like I said, I started doing one and then I got more interested in this conversation. So, okay, I'll come back and do it later.
Well, and below that, but these are not really useful for this sprint review, are the average scores on all the topics that we're measuring, which is really nice, especially if you're going to show off for a minute, if that's okay. We actually checked what happened in Corona with COVID-19, how that impacted scores. Now, obviously, I'm asking the server to calculate a lot of stuff again. Well, a lot of stuff started becoming really shaky early this year, and at the end of last year, maybe people got a little bit tired of working from home. I don't know. We're still trying to figure that out, what actually happened there. But in any case, the data that we have, they show us that we're going in the right direction. And that's basically the core conclusion that we wanted to draw. Normally, I think the idea we had, Barry, with this one, we had an idea with this, right? Something else.
No, I don't think so. No.
Wasn't there like, what do you see? Something like that, like what, so what, now what?
Yeah, but I think that's kind of challenging. I think
Time-wise
it's,
as
for
well.
me, it's time-wise, and it's kind of challenging to see it like this. So we've got a couple of minutes remaining, and actually want to make a smooth connection to the, let me see, to the slides again. Am I sharing screen? Yes, I am. Because something that we are seeing in the data is that somehow a lot of people are using the survey, and although we've just launched the subscription part, well, we are hoping to see a positive trend line in the number of teams and organizations that subscribe for the survey. So that's also something that we are going to track in the upcoming period to see, like, so what's the response that we're getting from organizations that are considering to do this. We are talking to quite a lot of organizations that have shown an interest, but this is just, well, getting a subscription on a survey is just something different from quite a lot of organizations. So this is something that we are gonna figure out in the upcoming period. And the essential version is the current free version. The Liberator version, that's the one that we focus on the most right now. You'll get all the premium features in the future. The idea that we have right now is that, well, that's it. You have the survey and the premium features. The Liberator Plus version is you get the premium features, and you will be able to join an active community, and will be able to, well, have peer-to-peer inspirations with teams of other organizations. But currently we're just, combining those two, and also doing personal demos and explanations, etc. if you take a Liberator subscription. This is just something that we are figuring out as we go, also based on the feedback that we get from you, of course.
Yeah, this is very much feedback-driven development, as I already talked about with Tamara and Jeroen in our breakout. So this is evolving very organically. We have a goal and a vision for what this platform should be, but we're very much listening to your ideas on what to do. And I think that the people that attended the previous sprint review can already see some of those ideas are materializing. So your input will be used if it fits with the vision, of course, but it's very helpful for us to know what you think.
And if you think it is interesting for your organization, but a demo would be helpful, then we're always willing to take some time for that, to just explain basically what we've done right now, just go through the survey together and explain and demonstrate the features. Anything else, Chris?
No, I think that's it for us. So time for a beer, right?
So now we can show this one. Yeah, for us, it's afternoon in the Netherlands, so for us this is a good moment to celebrate the weekend. But quite a lot of people from other US-related Canadian countries are there as well, and there it's the end of the morning probably.
So thank you so much for being with us for this hour and for giving your feedback and your thoughts. We hope to see you again for a future sprint review. I think we'll plan another one in a couple of weeks from now. Whatever ideas you have, just send them to us. If you run into issues, send them to us. Our cycle time is quite low. So generally, if you send an idea and it's fairly easy to do, we can do it in a couple of days, sometimes even a day. So just let us know, and we hope to see you again.
Yep, thanks a lot. Have a great weekend already.
Have a great weekend.
Great.
Happy weekend, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Happy weekend.
Bye-bye.